Hello everybody, I am here with.
Alejandra.
Thank you so much for doing this. We're now in Key Biscayne, chill vibes. And just to like really give people context, this is known as the dog in Miami, right? Does it have any other names?
The free parking beach.
The free parking beach. Now, I know a lot of the locals are gonna get mad at me and be like, Paula, why are you bringing this is supposed to be gate kept. We could talk about like the whole gatekeeping culture in Miami. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that, and I was actually thinking about this recently, and I was going to talk about this, but there's some things that it's like, I don't know, it's like, if you like gatekeeping is good in a sense, because obviously you want to keep people from going, but also like in this economy, if things are gate kept, things are going to just shut down and close, and then it's not going to exist. So,
All right.
like I had seen a video the other day where somebody posted like just like a local spot and they were like, "Oh, this is the best whatever." And everybody in the comments was like, "Oh no, like how could you share it?" But like let's be for real, like in this economy, if those places don't get business, they're going to close. And the places that are getting business are the ones that people are posting about and the ones that the locals don't like. And then we're just going to be full of all these places that we don't like because all the ones we actually like are going to shut down due to lack of business.
I agree with you 100%. It's like even if it's a hot take, businesses need business. So yeah, no, I think overall just like businesses need business, and if we just constantly like not let like people get access to that, they're gonna close down. Exactly what you said. So okay, so let's talk about your
And not only
page. Go
that, I
ahead.
feel like you're starting to see that. Like there's so many places shutting down. And then, you wonder, oh, well, why are they shutting down? Like that, whatever they had was so good. It's like they're not getting business. And especially now in this economy, how it is, they have to stay afloat because they're not going to be able to keep competing against the Pura Vidas and because people are going there. Like whether it's good or not, whether you want to compare it or not, people are actually going there. They are getting business and they're going to be the ones staying afloat.
Exactly. And I actually wanted to bring up that topic of like how do we compete with now the new Miami, which is the New Yorkers coming. How do you feel about that as local?
I mean, I obviously like people are allowed to move wherever, and that's how most of us are even here. We've moved from other places. Like yeah, some people are born here, some people have moved from other places, and we might move somewhere else too for a time, come back. I definitely did. I actually moved to Massachusetts. I lived in Boston area for a few
Oh
years
wow.
and I came back. And when I came back, which was now like about 2 years ago, I saw the big change and I was like, wow. But I think the difference is that it's like when you go somewhere new, you can accept like you're not from, like when I lived in Boston, I was never like, oh, I'm a Bostonian, I know everything there is to know about Boston, and like let me completely change to and ruin the things that they have going on here. Never. Like I'm gonna like the things that I like, but I'm also gonna let them introduce me to whatever the culture is. Whatever, I mean, there's things that I liked and there's things that I didn't like. There's still, even now, there's things I do miss and liked about it, and there's things that I didn't, but I'm not gonna go over there and pretend that I know everything. Even if I lived there actually like 6 7 years, six
Oh
almost seven
wow.
years,
That's a long
and I
time.
still would not go and be like, yeah, this is whatever, like because I'm not from there. I didn't grow up there, and I have friends that grew up there, and I can see that difference and what they know and what they see versus what I see as somebody that lived there in my adult life for just a brief period of time, because it was a brief period of time.
Yeah.
Which for some of these New Yorkers coming in, that's what it's gonna be. They're moving here, they're moving here not just like to build a life or to, and again, that's the other thing. Like even when my parents moved here and when my parents moved me here because I had no choice in the matter, they moved here to build a life, so this became my home. They're moving here for the aesthetic of it, for the fun of it, and whenever they're done with it, they're just gonna go. They don't care what happens to, they don't care what remains because they're not gonna have to remain.
That makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
I feel like it's like when I was in Boston, I was there for a purpose. I knew I was there for short term. I didn't see that as my home. I didn't intend to stay long term. And if even if I had, that intention would be different. I never moved there being like, okay, I'm just gonna have fun, do whatever, and then my home's always gonna be waiting for me. Let me trash theirs because who cares? Or I feel like that's what's happening here. Like they're coming here and they're trying to promote that image of what they have. The tourist image has now become the image of what Miami is, which is not. And that's the one that's getting pushed out to the masses. And then people are flocking here more for that fake image that doesn't exist because it only exists within like the lines of Brickell downtown. And then when they leave, they're gonna go, and more will come. And when they leave, they're gonna go, because their intent is not to sustain this area or to preserve
Hmm.
it. It's just to come to have fun and to then go on their way back to wherever.
Make a quick buck.
Yeah, or even just like, it's funny because in one of my videos recently, somebody commented something like, "Oh, well, what's your problem with people moving there to have fun?" I'm like, that's actually the exact problem. Like, you answered the question in your comment.
Yeah.
Moving there to have fun. Like, this is not like, obviously this is a place that you can have fun, just like you could have fun everywhere. Travel and tourism is also a business that's gonna sustain the area. Like, that's important. Miami's a big tourism area, just like, like New York is. And even like, you think about some of the islands that people go, like, they're getting money from tourism, but how does that money support the actual people there, and not just more billionaires that are just investing in it just to sustain themselves, but they're not putting back into the community.
Yeah. And you brought up a lot of good points. I really want to highlight how like such an like eloquent speaker you are. Like you know a lot of stuff. So it's also, I feel like when you move out of Miami, you get out of the bubble, right?
Yes,
Because Miami is a bubble. They
it
call it
is.
the capital of South America. It's not the United States. I've heard a lot of
And
that.
it's not, because the thing is that people want to pretend that it is, but when you do, and not just when you go for vacation, because going somewhere for vacation is completely different, but
Mhm.
when you see what the real, not even just the real world, even just the real US is like, and how we're treated within it, that's when you can, the facade is going to come down. So we don't really go to their homes basically and just try to like create a fake image, and make people go there just to trash it and to leave it. Because what, like spring breakers for example, with that being shut down, yes, it hurts some tourism, but also, where was the benefit and the cost, because they were trashing everything.
Yeah, that's so true. And the ecological damage, the, like similar to the effects of Coachella. I know this is kind of out of
Mm-hmm.
Miami, but if, for example, Indigo Valley has a lot of like a lower income population, so they get affected. Even though it's bringing the tourism, it still affects them negatively because
Correct, yeah.
because of the damages, both the environmental and the
Versus
financial.
like, if I, and I'm not saying that every single, obviously when you go on vacation you want to do and see nice things, so you're gonna do and see nice things. But
Mhm.
say if I'm going, like, okay, when I went to Aruba for example, and I travel a lot, so I'm gonna go, and obviously I might spend at like a really nice like tourist type of place because I'm going on vacation, I'm gonna do that. But then not every single breakfast and lunch I eat is going to be that. I'm going to try to find somewhere where my money is not just going to somebody's pocket, it's going to sustain people that actually live there.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so we're gonna jump into the topic of your TikTok page because I find it really interesting. Like you have really good videos that are captivating. You've gathered like a large audience, and I want you to like kind of tell the people like because this will be on YouTube, so kind of bringing that context from TikTok to somebody who maybe is not familiar to the world of TikTok, specifically your niche in TikTok.
I mean, I would say that it kind of started as for fun, especially because my first page is actually, my dogs have an Instagram page, and I put a lot of energy into that one. That one actually has a lot of followers, and I had put a lot of energy into that one. And and then I decided to start this one kind of for fun, and it kind of started to take off a little bit. Nowhere near as successful as my dog page that I need to go back to, because I kind of have abandoned it a little bit. But part of my intention was just to share. I feel like there's a lot of influencers out there, and I don't like that name, where they're trying to influence you just again for their own benefit and pocket, which again, obviously everybody needs to do what they need to do to survive, like, and especially like I said, in this economy, like, that's the state of the world. But also, like, it's all a fake image. Like, you see them, and that's not really, it's, I'm thinking of it like, I don't know if people know that scandal from TikTok where there was an influencer that their whole thing was posting like Target hauls or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Florida, right?
yeah, I don't know if it was in Florida, but she
Right.
was posting Target hauls. And so you're looking at her life and you're like, oh yeah, she goes shopping, she does all these Target hauls. And then eventually, come to find out, she gets arrested for stealing from Target. So that's a fake, that's one of those fake images. So you're portraying all of this lifestyle that doesn't really exist, because at the end of the day, clearly you didn't have enough money to do all those hauls if you had the need to steal them basically. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to not have enough money to go on a haul every week or every day. Like that is perfectly okay. So from seeing all of these people that it's more of like a fake image, and particularly with relation to Miami, there's a lot of like Miami influencers that portray that image that we were talking about, this fake image of what Miami really is, that it's not, because it's not the Miami I grew up in. It's not the Miami that I see the people around me and the community that I work in grow up in. It's like a vacation Miami, a tourist Miami. And I think it's fine for that to be the image of it, because again, it's fine when you're going on vacation, it's different. But the way that it's being spun, like this is the Miami living lifestyle, people are going to come here to something that's fake, that's not real, because it's not sustainable for them or for hardly anybody. You have to have like a lot of money, like for real, to really have that. Here there's so many people that have fancy cars and fancy this, and it's not, they don't even, they have nothing, that they're paying for their fancy car but they truly have nothing. So for what? So I think from seeing that, it kind of inspired me to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna share like something more real. Like this is like real life, like regular people. It's funny because I've found myself using that phrase a lot. Like when I see people like, oh yeah, this is where people go, or this is what people do. I'm like, yeah, no, regular people do these other things. Like, I mean, and again, regular people might also do those things every once in a while, but you can't promote that as that's the daily lifestyle of almost anybody here, really. And for the very few that are, few of them, like there's already a few of them, but even fewer of them can actually sustain that lifestyle. Most of them can't even hold that lifestyle long term. They're going to do that for a couple years and then they're going to go back to their home states, leaving whatever mess they left behind.
I agree. I think you bring up some amazing points. I want to highlight specifically the the whole influencer culture. So within my page, to give you some context, I've covered Miami like a case study for the past 2 years, and I've infiltrated almost every scene. So you can ask me any of the questions you would like to know. One of them, which you talked about, is the influencer culture. And I've met, I won't say obviously the influencers or anything, but I've met some group of influencers that have group chats and they let you in, but everything is an illusion. You're really just hanging out with a promoter. I think it's important to have what you said, real content. What you have on your TikTok page is real content. I want you to know that according to my research, it's been the youth, as I call them, people your age. They really like authenticity versus the influencer culture. How do you feel about that?
I think that's shifting as of more recently, to be honest.
Really?
I do still see that that's what people gravitate to now, but I think especially now, like with the economy and everything that's happening, I think
True.
that's shifting that mindset, because it's hard to see what, like, you know, what real life looks like and then see people just overspending and overconsumption when you know that that's not what people can afford to exist in right now.
I agree.
So I think that's what's been creating that shift, and I think it's been more recent than anything, because even like if you think about, like, there's so much overconsumption alone, and that's just in general. Like if you look at TikTok, like those videos, or even YouTube Shorts or Instagram, whatever, you see like, and don't get me wrong, I used to like watching them too, and then when I thought about it more, like, well, why do they have all that stuff where they're stacking like whatever little things into like a bin, and like it definitely looks satisfying to watch them put the things in the bin, but then you think about it and it's like, well, how, like, when are they going to use all that stuff? How are they going to use all that stuff?
Are they going to use that
How
stuff?
much time exactly are they, and what's going to happen to that stuff
Are they throwing it
when
away?
they're done with it?
That's the hottest take. You know,
Like, and mind you, like if you like, okay, like if you own some type of business or you do some type of community service, like you're gonna use all that stuff if you're giving it away. But like if I think about, I don't know, like sunscreen, for example, I think I've had my sunscreen for about a year, like, and I use it. I come to the beach all the time, I use it, but it's realistically not going to run out that quickly. So why do I need 3 of them?
You were influenced.
You know, and you know what, and I've caught that mindset too. Sometimes I look at something, I'm like, oh wow, it's running out, I need another one, but it's not even running out, and then I have to catch myself. And I feel like seeing social media so much has like changed that mindset for people until you really think about it and you're like, wait a minute, how long? And I have to ask myself that question when I think, oh, I need another one. Well, but how long is this realistically going to last me? Like, do I need another one? Oh wait, I don't.
This is some deep stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's happened to me. I went into really high credit card debt to just fill that void, fill that need that I
Yeah.
saw online. I
And
would
I
buy
feel like that's
luxury
happened to a
items.
lot of people. Like that's happened to me. That's happened to a lot of people, and it's from seeing it. Because I feel
Hmm.
like, especially before social media, you didn't really get to see, so
Nope.
you had no one to compare yourself
But now
to.
it's a constant comparison every
Yeah,
across all
and
platforms.
you see things and you're like, I need that. And mind you, sometimes I post content of things that I might be promoting or whatever, but when I do, I try to use things that like I actually use. And even when I get things from TikTok as gifts, I always use things that I'm actually going to use
Me too.
myself, because what's the purpose of me getting something that I'm not going to have a use for either?
I don't know if you. This is outside of Miami, but it's still within the influencer avenue. Okay, so in the old school YouTubers and influencers of the early 2010s, they would get PR packages, right? And so they kind of have like this legal issue where they couldn't sell the items that they get.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, with all these TikTok items that people receive now more often, right, through
Mm-hmm.
TikTok Shop, do we have to report that for taxes? Where's the education behind this? How do we know? You know what
Well,
I
we're
mean?
supposed to, but I don't know that everybody even knows
Is
that.
does everybody know that, or are we just doing it, under the table?
Yeah, we are supposed to, like, at the very least, whatever you earn from the commission. I think the gifts are
Mm,
tricky. There's certain, like, if you're like, I think it's like if you're getting it as a gift but you're not forced to make a video, then you don't
mm,
have to. But if you're getting it as a gift, and it also has to do with how much, like, the price of the item, like there are rules around it, but
yeah, right.
a lot of people don't even know.
Yeah, because I remember, if you know the MUA era on YouTube, you know all those crazy PR packages for like different beauty brands, and they would be like elaborate $1,000 worth of boxes
And
of
those are still
makeup.
happening now, yeah.
Of course,
And even then,
100%.
like, I remember, like, when I was in like high school and even middle school, like looking at YouTube videos, like I used to love watching like the beauty ones of people reviewing stuff,
Uh-huh.
but I would see people actually using it. Like some people aren't even actually using the thing that they're promoting.
So true. So the question becomes, how sustainable is it, right? Is it being thrown away? Is it being donated to good causes like in Miami? I'm having a clothing swap, so if you want to come, I'll give you the details later. And all the clothes that I'm getting from my friends and different people in the community, I'm actually going to give it to Lotus House.
Mm-hmm.
And Out of the Closet, and any other organizations you guys have below in Miami, let me know, because beyond, the no the quote unquote normal ones, that would just throw it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I feel like even with stuff that we buy, there is so much
Hmm.
overconsumption, and not even stuff that we get as gifts. Like I think about, and I actually made a video about this, like I think last year,
Hmm.
and there were people that kind of got upset by it. But for example, like with the Stanley cups,
Right.
okay,
Huge cups.
that is not. The Stanley cups on their own actually aren't a problem. Like yes, it is sustainable to have
Hmm.
a cup that you refill.
Yes.
Granted, personally, I don't think they're practically shaped, so I do not own one. But it is, if you like it and it works for you, that's
Hmm.
great. But why do you need 10? Because the whole point of a reusable cup is for it to be reusable. And honestly, like sometimes people get mad when I've said this, but their anger is really coming from the fact that it's like a cognitive dissonance, because to
Uh-huh.
some degree they have to realize, like, wait, like that's true, but they can't like accept, like, wait, I was wrong, or not even wrong, I was fooled into thinking that I needed this.
I agree. I
Because it's
agree.
more about, it's the pushing of, you need this, you need this, there's a color every week, there's a color every week. You don't need every color because it's a
Mm,
reusable cup. So buy your favorite color, maybe buy two, because you can use one, wash one, swap them out, maybe three max per person. That's fine.
yeah.
If you like to have people over, or you go to the beach a lot, you get one for each person. Like, but I've seen, like, and like I said, on TikTok, social
Hmm.
media promotes where you see the videos of people showing like a whole cupboard of
Hmm.
just Stanley cups. What is a sustainable cup doing sitting on a shelf not being used for sustainability? Like I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. And realistically, what's going to happen, which has happened always in the past, eventually people are going to get over the Stanley, something new is going to come up, and where are all those cups going to end up? In the Goodwill
Or the trash.
or the trash. Yeah,
Yep, back to the big garbage mound somewhere in Miami or somewhere else around the states.
all over the states. Yeah,
Right? It's very
exactly.
sad. So now we can jump into other topics that you want to talk about. So your page, you go to different restaurants. You really highlight local businesses. I really
Yes.
like your takes on it. You really go beyond the no, the quote unquote average foodie. Tell me, how do you do that?
Yes, and I'll say I actually like have a list. Anything I see, I save it and I try to go. And honestly, like I do it for fun. Like that part of it, I started for fun completely. And it's
Mhm.
almost also like a personal diary because sometimes I forget places I've been to that I want to return to, and then I have like a personal diary to go back to and be like, oh yeah, it was called this because I can't even remember some of them. Like the names are
Yeah.
complicated. What it's been a while, whatever. So I do I like that part started for fun,
Mhm.
and I'm more like, what do I base of what places I choose? Honestly, like just if the food actually looks good.
Mhm.
I also like I am a sucker for places that look really nice. Like I'll admit that. So if it looks aesthetically pleasing, like I like to go. But
Yes.
there's that mix of like aesthetically pleasing plus the food is good,
Got it.
and obviously there's been a couple misses as well that I've gone to and I'm like wasn't great, and I either don't post about them at all if they really piss me off, or sometimes like I'll share it because so other people know whatever,
Bring
and be
awareness.
honest.
And this also ties into your series of de-influencing.
Yes, and that's a newer thing that I've been doing. Like there's definitely a lot of places that usually I was opting not to share it at all,
Okay.
but I think what really kind of recently I was like, you know what, I should share it because especially, and I will say I do target places that are overhyped when I do those de-influencing, because those mom and pop shops, those local stores, I wouldn't want to hurt their business. Maybe it was a bad day, whatever. Like now mind you, if I've been there 5 times, I'm like, that's different. That's just, but I don't want to de-influence something that these people are just getting started. I don't want to do that. So I when I do that, I try to target those places that are overhyped more than anything,
Right.
because that is what's being promoted, and the people that are losing business are the real, like the real regular people.
Yeah. And then it goes back to our original point in the beginning of this episode, which is like, how can we not gatekeep and actually promote local business? Because those are the people that are really putting the work down.
And they're really gonna benefit from that.
Exactly. And help them be successful because it's good stuff.
Like okay, even from my de-influencing, and there's a lot of high-end restaurants in Miami, and like I said, when you're coming on vacation, obviously you're gonna want to go there, you're gonna want to try it. Even me as a local, sometimes I do go to those places. Like I will say I love Gecko. I've been there at least 5 times, and I've
Me
been there
too.
on my birthday twice, maybe three times on my birthday.
Shout out to
This
Bad
year on
Bunny.
my birthday, last year on my birthday, when they opened that same year on my birthday. I love it. Like their food is good, the ambiance is good. It's really not overhyped. It's actually really good. But that's not the case for all of these places that are of the same like
Genre.
level or
Mhm.
genre. And also Gecko is not a chain. There's a lot of chain
Mm.
restaurants like the Carbones and the
We could go on and on.
what's the other one, the new one?
Um,
My friend was trying to force me to go there and I was like,
nope.
I don't know. I'm like, that one I'll pass because I already know I'm not gonna like it. Catch. I don't even really like
Really?
seafood.
There
I
you
don't
go.
like seafood, so there's nothing there for me. I don't even have a comment. I've never been there, so I can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
But I know I wouldn't like it because I don't like seafood. But
Yeah.
anyways, Carbone, for example, I made a video about Carbone, and
Okay.
that's one of the ones. If you look on TikTok, every single video that you see from like influencers, Miami influencers, and just even people that come here, they're like, oh, Carbone, Carbone, that's gonna be one of the top hits. They're gonna tell you you have to go eat there. That has to be like to no jokes aside, nothing. That is the absolute worst place I've been to.
Yeah.
They upset me so much. Not just the service, the food, everything was just blah. Don't get me wrong, it was a really nice ambiance. The place is really pretty. I mean, I would hope it is for how much money you're paying, and for their, I would hope so. They're a chain. There's Miami Carbone, there's New York Carbone, I heard there's one in Texas because I didn't even know that until recently.
Well, there you go.
So it's a chain. I would hope that they have, and I would hope that they're consistent across the board. If you go to McDonald's, you expect McDonald's wherever you go.
It's
a
the
chain.
consistency for me.
That's fine. But is it the best food I've had? No. If you're going there for the ambiance, hell, if you're even going there for drinks, like fine, I'll accept it
I
because
get it.
you really like it's really hard to mess up drinks.
I get it.
It's really really hard to mess up drinks. But also when you're giving your money to that corporation, because if you own multiple restaurants and they're chains like that, that's not an individual that's earning that money.
I get it 100%. It's back to big business versus small
Yeah,
business.
so if everybody's coming here to go to Carbone just to give them their money to post their picture to play that song, everybody knows what song I'm talking about, and it's okay, do it once. You're coming on vacation, go ahead, do it once. But there's also so many places here in Miami that are owned by like just real regular people, and even businesses that just are not at that scale that could benefit from that money, and you'll have a better time and you'll get more bang for your buck.
Yeah, I love this. I really love this because it really highlights, well, the accessibility issue. Not a lot of people within Miami-Dade County is so big, right? So within the whole county, right? How can we make it accessible for people to enjoy good food and not necessarily have to go to the Miami Beach, Brickell, downtown?
I
You know
hate
what I
Miami
mean?
Beach. Every they
It's the Times Square.
it's not even just it's also like I that's a whole different topic. But Miami Beach is so they're so particular. I don't know what word to use that's nice and isn't censored.
It's your
but
opinion, you
they're
know?
very they also are very particular as to who they even let into restaurants, which is
Yes.
also a whole other issue altogether because
You don't look a certain way, olvídate.
they will, yeah, you won't get in, and they'll give you some nonsense excuse and you can't argue it. And it's not even like this is a whole other topic, but like sometimes with promoters and that kind of thing, like yes, you're getting in for free, so that's fine. You can have your standards for whatever image you want because it's a business transaction. But even if you're going there to pay with your own money, they still won't let you in.
It happened to me. Happened to me at one of those. Speaking of Miami Beach, at one of those rooftop hotel pool things where they have beds and stuff. I won't say the name of the place, but
So
Yeah.
if you're spending your own money, like that's different. Like I get with the promoters, if you're going for an
Yeah.
event, sure, whatever. Like yeah, you're paying, be exclusive, be whatever you want, but it's to not allow someone to make their own business, to spend their own money on whatever the hell they want to spend their money on.
I got it. Oh yeah, and it happens all the time, and not only just to me and my own personal experience, where basically if I didn't have the promoter walking down and bringing me up, they were like, no, we have to charge you $50 to get in, which is fine because I'm privileged and I can afford that. However, let's say you are actually got invited by a friend and it happens to be, a promoter, then you're like, what? I have to pay $50 out of nowhere? That's not accessible to most people.
Yeah, and then you didn't know in advance.
And
Like,
you didn't know in advance. You budget yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's also, let's bring the reality to it. Miami is has this image, right, where you can be a certain way, you have this nice car, we talked about that, boom. But the reality that people don't talk about is a lot of Miami is very frugal. It's very interestingly frugal.
Even those people with their nice cars, they're in a sense of being frugal because they're just spending all their money on the car, and then behind the scenes they got nothing.
They got nothing. Their fridge is empty. I can say I know some people. That's all I'm gonna say.
They're eating the instant ramen. That's just what they're choosing to spend their money on.
Exactly. Or if, for example, I mean, yes, health is a privilege. Not all of us can have health care, unfortunately, in the United States. However, some people will prioritize other things to show, oh, I have all this health. I'm in my fitness era, I'm in my wellness era. But really, they're doing what you said. They're having a little bit of that ramen, not the best of meals, but they're not showing that. You know what I mean? They show different depictions of their life, and I think people are tired.
And it's also okay to be struggling.
Oh
it's
no,
okay
don't get me wrong. Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
not the problem.
Yeah.
And even if all you can afford is ramen, like that's what you can do. You have to do what you have to do to survive. But if you're paying like $1,000 on a car payment and you don't have money to buy yourself food, wouldn't it make more sense to buy a car within your means? Because having a Lamborghini or whatever that's not a necessity, but you being able to eat is a necessity. So in reality, you do have money to buy yourself food. You're just choosing to create this facade.
The facade, that's the word. And that's why I really like to talk to you, and we talk all the time, because you not only do you bring up the facts, but you also like give those anecdotes, and you also like you are ready to call out somebody when some things are right, some things are wrong. You notice the truth, and I really like that about you.
Yeah, and I feel like I find myself like that too, just in my personal life. Like I can see somebody and I can get a sense of who they are, and that's gonna really tell me a lot about if I'm gonna see you again, if I'm not gonna see you again, and then there's people that I'll keep at certain bays because I know I can see the facade drop easily. I'm very good at that. And it's, it's funny because friends that have known me for years always know that you're not supposed to go by first impressions, but every single time I've said something about somebody, it's become true, whether it's 3 months down the line, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I've been right at some point in time at whatever I said at first. And even me, I try to not go even by my own first impression. Sometimes I get that gut feeling, but I'm like, you know what? Let me give this person a chance, because you're not supposed to go by gut feelings. But I've been proven right, whether or not in a short term, I've been proven right in a long term. And that person has either screwed me or somebody over, and that person has come back and been like, wow, remember when you said this?
There you go.
This is what happened. So, and here in Miami, there's a lot of people that, I mean, I know it's kind of basic to say they're fake, but that's what they are. It's fake. It's everything's a facade. So it's part of the reason that I like to post what I post. It's that I'm not, there's no facade. This is just, that's what it is. And sometimes I do post in those fancy restaurants if that's what I want to do that day. But I'll also go to like the most local spot, because for me it's not really just about the image. Sometimes it is, because sometimes you do want to get dressed up and you want to go and have like a really nice fancy dinner. That's perfectly fine. It's funny because recently I posted that I was in Komodo, and somebody in the comments said something like, "Oh, that's really expensive," and I was like, "Yeah, I know," and it is. I don't go to Komodo every week, but there are people who are gonna promote that is as if that is what they do every week.
Mm-hmm. And I will fill in a random anecdote that I know from all my research is that you can actually get to Komodo for $25 if you know the right person. You just pay $25, you get a dinner, boom. Not Komodo exactly, but those genre of restaurants. You know what I mean? But that's if you know, you know. And then you post it on your Instagram story, and people are like, "Oh my god, you spent $500 on this dinner!"
Yes.
And guess what? They only paid 25. That's the behind the scenes.
And then somebody watching them is gonna be like, wow, if they're living in Miami and they can afford to go to Komodo every week and spend that much on a dinner, then that means I can move there and I will have the same lifestyle.
I get it. And then sometimes it's really damaging, because then when are we saving money? When are we investing in our future? I'm learning that. That's a learning experience for me. I wasted a lot of money in the random things because I was influenced because of things my 20s were spent. Did I save any money from that? No. It is what it is, but I'm learning. Big things.
For sure.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, and honestly, since I lived in Boston, like I can say that quite recently, actually, I had a friend that messaged me and was like, "Wow, like I'm thinking of moving to Miami because," and all the reasons she gave me, I was like, "Okay, well, let me tell you, like, let me be honest with you, none of that is true." And like I said, the problem isn't even people moving here; it's the intent and the intent and. Like I said about them not moving here to build something and to take care of the land, but just to come here for a time, have fun, and then be off on their way. Which, every move is not going to be permanent, and that's fine. But you respect wherever it is you're going. When you're on vacation, when you're traveling, when you're moving, you respect the area. But
I agree.
Anyways, that image is she said something to me like, "Oh, well, so and so that I know told me that moving to Miami would change my life, and that what was it that was moving to Miami will change my life, and that they were able to move there and they did this whole big thing and whatever." And in my head, I'm like, like, I'm sorry, this is just a regular place, just like any other regular place. You're gonna struggle. You can be successful, but you also are gonna struggle. You're gonna have to work hard. It's not like you're gonna get off the plane, get your first apartment in Miami, and money's gonna fall from the sky and you're successful. That's not what's gonna happen. But what people are seeing on social media is painting this picture that is what happens. Like I see now that, especially like my feed has become more local, so I've gotten a lot of like real Miami influencers, like real people, and usually as soon as I see them, I follow them. But I also get a lot of those people, and if you read the comments, like they're posting like walking down Brickell, walking their dogs down Brickell, they're doing yoga every morning. Which, by the way, yoga classes cost money. So if you're going to yoga every morning, that's gonna cost you money weekly or however often you go. So how do you budget that into your lifestyle if that's your plan of moving here to do?
I get it.
So, but that's, people don't, I don't know if people are thinking about that when they're seeing
Right,
that. Like that yoga
100%.
class is gonna cost money, and how do we know that that's not the yoga class from a month ago and you just took that video? Because it's very easy for me. Like I could take a video at the beach today. I could even bring a couple different outfits and take a couple different pictures of the
Change in
beach
the
today,
bathroom.
and then I could post them, and you think I'm going to the beach every day, but I'm not. I just changed my outfit and took pictures on the same day.
Mhm.
How do we know that's not the case? But anyways, in the comments, people will be like, "Oh my God, I want to move to Miami because I want that to be my lifestyle. I want that to be my lifestyle. I want to be in my Miami fitness era. I want to do this, that, and the
I
other."
want to go to those restaurants every week, even if it's once a week. Wink, you know. You never know. Maybe it was shot on the same night. You never know. This is the facade is real.
We could change our clothes right now and
We-
film and a whole nother thing and say we were here a
and
week
change the
from today.
subject and talk about like a whole nother point of view. This is such a great conversation. Now I'm gonna let you if you have any other ideas, any questions, any concerns.
I don't know. I think one thing that I shared recently that I think is important for people is to do exactly that. Like no matter where you are and where you're watching from, try to find those regular people in your area that are gonna say the truth, that are gonna, because to some degree I feel like watching that kind of content that is fake, and you can tell that it's fake if you even give it some thought to like how realistic is this really.
Yes.
It's poisoning our brains because it's making us want to compete and want to do better. And it's honestly, it's what's causing, I feel like, a lot of the mental health issues too, because you can never feel good enough because you always see that there's somebody doing better. But what it's the same with, sometimes you see couples on the internet and you would think they're like the most loving couple, but when you know them in real life, you'll be like, no, that's for the pictures. And you know that because you know them. It's the same. We don't know what people are going through behind closed doors and what the real life lifestyle is like. But it's not fair, even for people moving here, to push that lifestyle, because when they come here, they're gonna get a rude awakening. Most of them are gonna struggle. Maybe a few are gonna get lucky, but getting lucky can happen to you anywhere.
You got to know how to hustle. My hobby, and I love talking to people like you that bring such an interesting insight into Miami. I've struggled honestly to bring people who want to just talk into the podcast, into this whole the Politics podcast, and yeah, I'm really thankful for your time.
Believe it or not, I'm like super shy to talk.
I think you're
like,
really
I'm
really
easier
good.
with conversation, but if you gave me a microphone and put me in front of an audience,
It's hard. Public speaking is hard.
Yeah,
I get it. I love public speaking. I could go and talk for hours in a microphone.
It's funny because for my job, I do have to talk a lot, but it's more, I'm better with like conversation style than just get up there and say whatever. Yes. And it's not because I don't have a thought to say, but just
the anxiety of it.
Yeah.
Simply that. It's just simply like it can be very anxious causing. But also I want to not only just thank you, but I want to say how insightful you are. You really bring this point of view, and I'm just really thankful.